Thank you, good student, and feel welcome. Shortly, I just want us to discuss density. What is this particular density and how to find that density? So I've tried to define briefly what is actually density, and I've actually noted that density is defined as mass per unit volume, and therefore this particular density can be expressed as mass divided by volume. And therefore, if this is the particular case that we know density equals to mass divided by volume, then from this particular volume formula, we can actually try and make the volume the subject and realize also that volume is actually mass divided by density. Similarly, we also know that from this particular formula, mass can also be obtained by taking density multiplied by volume. Now, notice that density in most cases is measured in kilogram per cubic meter, that is the SI unit, but also it can actually be expressed as grams per cubic centimeters. Now, once we know this, realize too that to change grams per cubic centimeters to kilogram per cubic meter, then we have to multiply by 1,000. And on the similar note, to change kilogram per cubic meter to grams per cubic centimeters, then we have to divide by 1,000. Now, I've provided a question here. Consider this particular question that find the mass of an ice cube of side 6 centimeters if the density is 0.92 grams per cubic centimeters. Now, the solution, I've provided the solution, but you can also recall that we said to get the mass, we also need to have volume, and therefore I have to calculate the volume of that particular cube. Remember, for the cube, all the sides are equal, so it will be 6 by 6 by 6, which give us 216 cubic centimeters. Once I have the volume, this one, then I can recall that mass is given by density multiplied by volume. And therefore, from this particular relation, then I can get that the density given is 0.92 multiplied by the volume that is calculated here, which is 216. By so doing, we are getting that one giving us 198.72 grams. Another question that I've provided, which is kind of similar to the previous one, is that find the volume of a cork, mass 48 grams, given that the density of the cork is 0.24 grams per cubic centimeters. Now, to work out this, recall the formula that I provided earlier, that volume is gotten by mass divided by density. And therefore, from here, volume is equals to 48. That is, volume is equals to 48. That is the mass divided by the density, which is 0.24. By dividing this one, we are getting the correct answer coming to 200 cubic centimeters as the correct volume. Further, I'm providing the further question, that is the third question, and it says that you are given the density of iron to be 7.9 grams per cubic centimeters. So the question is asking, what is this density expressed in kilogram per cubic meters? So what you realize is that here we want to change the centimeters, grams per cubic centimeters to kilogram per cubic meters. And to do that, we have already said that we have to multiply by 1,000. And therefore, I'll take 7.9 multiplied by 1,000, which gives me 7,900 kilogram per cubic meters. Lastly, I'm looking at the last question, that is a rectangular slab of a glass measuring 8 by 2 by 14 centimeters and has a mass of 610 grams. So you are told to calculate the density of this rectangular slab in kilogram per cubic meters. So to do this, recall that the volume of the slab is obtained by length multiplied by width multiplied by height. So it will be 8 by 2 by 14, giving us 224 cubic centimeters. This is supposed to be cubic centimeters. Once we have that, then we proceed on. Mass of the slab equals to 610. That is given from the question. So recall that density is given by mass divided by volume, and therefore density of this particular will be the mass, which is 610, divided by the volume, which is 224. By dividing these two, we end up with the density being 2.723 grams per cubic centimeters. Remember, the question requires that the density be expressed in kilogram per cubic meters, and therefore we are going to multiply it by 1,000, which therefore gives us 2,723 kilogram per cubic meter. So I believe that short demonstration was enjoyable and reasonable for you to understand how the questions related to density are worked out. Thank you for your time, and remember to be part of my class by subscribing to my class so that you can be notified whenever a new video is uploaded. Thank you and be blessed.